This totally miserable afternoon for rugby league football. The full team, Richard Gay at full-back, despite the rumours of transfer through the season, or through the close season. Leroy Mackenzie, Terry Manning, who of course played down here a few years ago, Tavita Vicona, Shane Foster. Maya David is the number 6 and Johan Windley the scrum half. Steve Craven, Gary Duke, Tim Street, Andy Fisher, Steve McNamara and Jez Cassidy, and the 2 substitutes, John Aston and Chico Jackson. Let's turn now to the Keighley side, who've just come out onto the park. The music going around the scene. And the full side exactly the same as played the first 2 games. Andre Stoop at full-back, shortly of course to play for South Africa in the World Cup. Jason Critchley, Pinkney, Irving, Dixon. The 2 wingers have in fact changed round. Darren Appleby and Chris Robinson, Ian Gately, Jason Ramshaw and Grant Dury. Second row, David Larder and Cochrane, and the loose forward, Martin Wood. Gareth Cochrane, who played in the academy side at the Boulevard, and it was felt he'd sign as a pro for them, but he decided to come down here to Cougar Park and try and make his mark. The 2 substitutes, Andy Ayres and Darren Fleary, both of them coming back from injury. Both of them played in the A-team at Sheffield on Thursday evening, and both declared themselves 100% fit to play for the first team. The field at the moment looking good. We had it reseeded some 5 or 6 weeks ago, but after the experiences of last season, we're just keeping our fingers crossed that all goes well and that the green grass remains out there for the whole of the season. Keighley playing from left to right, attacking the Bowling Green end of the ground, defending the Lorcombe Lane end, and Hull obviously on the converse. Hull played 3 games, won a couple of them, but lost to Featherstone in the opening game of the season. And of course the Cougars made a tremendous start to the season, beating Huddersfield at the McAlpine Stadium, and then last week getting up to the 50 mark over at Scotland against Rochdale Hornets. Again, the kick-off some 5 minutes late, and Simon Irving, the skipper, doing the kick-off. Gone deep, Hull coming in hard, and Ian Gately and Jason Ramshaw in at the tackle. Maya David, the man who was first man to receive for Hull, normally plays at loose forward, but playing at stand-up half because of his defensive capabilities. And Tim Street, who has a bit of a reputation as a hard man, the next man to make the drive. Useful side, this whole team. Keighley are going to have to be 100% on their mettle to win this game, and I've no doubt that Phil Larder has installed every confidence in the lads, told them what they have to do. Kick over the top by Windley, going to be taken hopefully by Andre Stoop. And Andre Stoop, who created consternation by actually knocking on in the first game, taking that game safely. Jason Critchley, hat-trick last weekend. Jason Ramshaw, Cochrane coming on, in fact Cochrane being used as the dummy man, and Martin Wood taking the ball, still within the Cougars half, and good to see a good compliment. Chris Robinson making the break inside the whole half of the field. Hull FC, as they insist on being called. Gareth Cochrane looking to put the pass out. 2 men offside. The first one, the number 8, Big Steve Craven. And be interesting to see whether or not Simon Irving has a go at goal. In fact, even as a talk indicating to the referee that the touch judges should go behind the posts. And Simon Irving just waiting for Ben Bibby to bring out the statutory bucket of sand. And the rain continuing to pour down. Totally miserable afternoon after what was a beautiful morning. Quite warm early this morning, the sun was shining, but within the space of half an hour everything changed, and the weather conditions couldn't be worse. Let's hope we're not going to have a bad winter to decimate all the kind things that we had about the super summer that we've had. Simon Irving then with the opportunity of possibly putting on the first points of the afternoon. 7 goals last weekend against Rochdale, 6 at the McAlpine Stadium against Huddersfield. Certainly got the height and hit the post. Is anyone going to get there first? In fact, Maya David, the first man to get to it. Coming forward, Ian Gately David Larder and Martin Wood. And Hull coming forward. The kick hitting the post. Ian Gately and Martin Wood in at the tackle, just looking for a moment with interest to see if the referee would penalise. Ball knocked on by Hull. Think we might see one or two of those this afternoon. Good shot ball to Andre Stoop. Andre Stoop going forward, and Andre Stoop inside the Hull half of the field. David Larder, Timmy Street coming in with the shoulder and letting him know that this is going to be an uncompromising afternoon. Grant Dory making progress. The applause ringing out from the fanatical Cougar fans. Ian Gately, the crowd not happy about that. Ian Gately getting up quickly and playing the ball, and the ball going out to Appleby. Appleby trying to make the gap, and Windley alive to the possibilities. 6 tackle, up goes the bomb. Martin Wood racing after it, so too is Richard Gay, and Gay taking that one perfectly. My David acting as a buffer, I suppose, quite legitimately it has to be said, and the score remaining 0-0. Good run by Leroy McKenzie, and this time I think it's going to be the Cougars all offside. The advantage of the wind and the rain is undoubtedly with Hull, and it's Leroy McKenzie again. My David going to have to receive treatment for what looks as though he's had a bang on the shoulder, and in the meantime Timmy Street coming forward. Tim Street, who has a super facility for getting the ball out of the tackle. Ball coming back to loose forward Jess Cassidy, an old colleague I understand of Gareth Cochrane's, and this time it's Duke the hooker. The Cougars under the first bit of pressure of this afternoon's game. Cassidy at loose forward, appealing for the penalty. Windley putting the ball in field. Good strong tackle, but the ball comes out. Cassidy puts the kick through. Andre Stoop is there to take it, and the Cougars breathe again. And good work by Critchley. Tremendous play by Jason Critchley, getting involved. Keith Dixon, the next man to take part, getting up quickly to play the ball. Andre Stoop coming racing onto the ball. Good tackle by Craven. Chris Robinson. Short ball. Strong tackle by My David on Nick Pinkney. Ball on the blind side to Chris Robinson. Good kick down. Has it gone in touch? And yes, at the end of the day, the ball rolling into touch. I suppose the tragedy that I keep on saying about this game of rugby league is that a kick of that magnitude means that Hull will out question get the ball. Gareth Cochrane having problems with his boot, he not backing down, so the Cougars at the moment a man light in the scrum, but Gareth Cochrane coming up to take his place. The rain continuing to pour down, and the hills around the ground shrouded in mist. Loose ball, the Cougars in possession. Grant Dory doing well, trying to get up quickly to play the ball. Jason Ramshaw moving it left. The ball, long ball to Stoopy. Andre Stoop going forward, but being caught just short of the 20-metre area. Ian Gately, the next man to have a tilt. Good short ball to Simon Irving. Simon Irving going for the line, 10 metres short. Still going forward, going to be penalised. Simon Irving obviously feeling that he hadn't been tackled. The referee, equally obvious, adamant that he had. And it will be a Hull penalty 5 metres from their own line. Gareth Cochrane still in a bit of trouble with his boots, and that ball not going into touch. Andre Stoop doing tremendously well, going down the touchline side, and the ground without question extremely slippery, and Jason Critchley again to the fore inside the Hull 20-metre area. Short ball to Chris Robinson. This time it's David Larder. David Larder tackled by Craven. Grant Dory being used as a doing man. Chris Robinson going for the line. Chris Robinson can't quite make it. Penalty, I think, against Tim Street. Tim Street going to be spoken to by the referee, Chris Robinson, the man who made the break. And Tim Street, no stranger to having chats to the referee throughout games, been spoken to, and the referee indicating it was a stiff arm tackle, and Simon Irving with what looks like the easiest kick at goal, and Gareth Cochran again having to receive treatment to his boot. The rain coming down heavier than ever, no sign of a break in the clouds all round the ground, and a very wet, wintry outlook indeed. Gareth Cochran not doing his backside any good by being sat on the wet turf, but again Ricky Winterbottom adamant that he okay. And Simon Irving with the kick at goal. 2 points to the Cougars. Simon Irving, the man who kicked the goal in the 8th minute.
Right. Well, the keepers are right.
Kick-off from the centre spot. Andre Stoop again taking the ball superbly well. Martin Wood coming tumbling forward. Knocks one man out of the way. Chris Robinson. Short ball again to Critchley. Critchley looking for work, just short of the 20-metre line. And the ball back to David Larder, but David Larder perhaps not coming forward as quickly as he would have hoped. And Jason Ramshaw from acting half-back. And again, Tim Street very involved. Ian Gately. Ian Gately just short of the halfway line. The 6th tackle indicated by the referee. The kicker putting the ball over the top. The kicker, of course, being Chris Robinson. And the perfect kick just stopping short of the Hull line. And Richard Gay doing well to take it. Leroy Mackenzie on an enviable task running into the heart of the Cougars' defence. And Jason Ramshaw, 3 tackles gone. This time it's the big second row man, Steve McNamara, well tackled though by Ian Gately again. And a penalty kick to the Cougars for not playing the ball. Certainly referees this season have been asked, in fact not asked, they've been told by Greg McCullum to make sure that these things are very carefully adhered to. Simon Irving with the possibility. Another 2 points might be there for the Cougars. And the clubhouse windows being shrouded in mist as the cold and the wind envelops them. And the kick coming now. The cheers tell it all that Simon Irving has kicked another goal. 11 minutes gone, the Cougars in the lead 4-0. Kick off again from the halfway line by Hull. Andre Stoop giving it to Martin Wood. Chris Robinson racing across, but Jason Ramshaw, the man who's getting an acting halfback. And Jason Critchley again, the ever willing to come forward and save his players a bit of work. Jason Ramshaw, matching halfback, could be said there was a head high, but the referee giving the whole player the benefit of the doubt, and Grant Dory, the next man to have a tilt. Gareth Cochran, anxious to have a good game against his old team. For a moment looked as though that was certain to go out on the full, but obviously Chris Robinson knew better than I where it was going and goes into touch. Needless to say, Hull will have the advantage of the head and the ball, and one has to admire all the spectators who've turned out this afternoon. There's such horrible conditions, and Andre Stoop and Simon Irving making sure that Hull don't get beyond their own 20-metre line. Hull still deep inside their own half, trailing by 4-0. The crowd shouting for a forward pass and the referee studiously ignoring them. And Duke moving the ball and Jason Ramshaw in at the tackle. Good tackling by the Cougars, 6 tackled by the referee. Windley going on his own. Tim Street moving the ball, and Gareth Cochran making sure of the tackle. Simon Irving in at the next one, and Leroy Mackenzie also letting the ball go. Surely the referee at some stage has to say the tackle's been effected, and in fact saying so now. Chris Robinson going to play it back, and the Hull number 9 moving from the mark fairly quickly there. This time it's Ian Gately. Jason Ramshaw still going forward. Had Grant Dory with him, but couldn't get the pass out. Chris Robinson moving the ball out to Keith Dixon. Keith Dixon doing well to avoid going into touch, play the ball. Gareth Cochran running onto it perfectly. 6 tackled. Possibly see the bomb. The bomb going up now. Beautifully taken by Richard Gay, and the tackling by Darren Appleby and Critchley equally as impressive. Leroy Mackenzie. 4-0, the Cougars in the lead. The conditions horrific, but I think in the second half we might see a cessation of the rain over the hills over the Lancashire side. It is certainly looking decidedly brighter, but in the meantime the players well tackled by David Larder and Jason Ramshaw, but Hull showing that they're not to be sneezed at. Tim Street, good tackle by Pinkney. Ball goes into touch, and Pinkney I think can have the praise for that one. Very good tackle on Tim Street. Jason Ramshaw received a bang, I think. He's certainly looking a little bit aggrieved about something. And the physio being indicated, come on, Mike Barrett, in fact, the man who's racing on. And round about 17 minutes of the game gone. The Cougars in the lead 4-0. Jason Ramshaw just receiving the magic sponge, and Chris Robinson to put the ball in. Appleby to Pinkney. Pinkney gets away from the first man. Beaten by Kona. Chris Robinson. Martin Wood. Tim Street again with a suspiciously high tackle. Penalty kick, I would think, being given to Keighley. And Keighley in the lead 6-0. Definite signs that the rain we've had for the last hour or so is going to vanish in the next 20 minutes or so. Certainly as far as we're concerned in the commentary box, we'd hope so. And Keith Dixon 12 metres away from the Hull try line. Dury 8 metres away from that try line. Ian Gately back to Robinson, good short ball to Gareth Cochran. The crowd indicating that they thought it was a try. Chris Robinson arguing with the referee, who's given a penalty. Simon Irving doing likewise. At the end of the day, they can't win the argument, and the penalty kick has been given to Hull. And this time, despite the fact that Jason Critchley's over the 6-foot mark, the ball going over his head into touch. Windley moving the ball out wide. Martin Wood and Nick Pinkney looking to tackle him and then missing the tackle, and Ian Gately doing extremely well to come across with Keith Dixon and prevent any further progress. Keith Dixon again in at the tackle. Shane Foster, the man who felt the weight of his argument. Timmy Street. Andre Stoop. It's the ball out to Critchley. Beautiful take by Andre Stoop on the burst, especially when you take into account that the conditions are very greasy, although it has to be said that the rain has just about finished. Simon Irving doing well to back up. The referee indicated the ball had gone back, and this time Ian Gately. Short ball. Read well by the Hull defenders. Nobody at the back of the man in possession, who was Gareth Cochran. This time it's Martin Wood, having no option than to go on his own. Inside the Hull half, the 6th tackle indicated. And the shout from the Hull faithful, who keep on watching them away from home. Come on, you Hull. Heard that many a time over at the Boulevard in their great days. Now in the rebuilding process. And at the moment they're trailing by 4-0 to the Cougars. Jez Cassidy up to the halfway line before he's tackled by Grant Dury. Good tackle by David Larder on Steve McNamara. But Hull coming more and more into this game. Maya David. Good ball out, not sure whether or not Keith Dixon got a touch to it. In fact, the referee indicated he did. And we're just 21 minutes into this game and still 4-0 to the Cougars. There's a gap there which has to be closed up quickly. Steve Craven. Darren Appleby doing well to hold on. Big man Craven. This time the ball going to Maya David. Big, strong man, and the penalty kick has been given to Hull. Jason Ramshaw, the man accused of reaping the ball out, if that's the correct expression. And Steve McNamara, the man who will take the kick at goal. Two Hull substitutes. Limbering up on the far side, John Aston, who's new to me, but Chico Jackson, a man who's been around the scene for a while. And 21 and a half minutes into the game. Eventually, I've no doubt the kick at goal will be taken. Interesting to note that over on the far side behind the stand, the cricketers are coming out, and we have in fact a glimpse of some over on the Lancashire borders. In the meantime, the crowd doing their best to put Steve McNamara off kicking at goal. And Steve McNamara, who's seen it all before, just ignores everyone, kicks the goal, and the scoreline goes 4-2 in favour of the Cougars. And I'm delighted to say that the heavy rain has virtually stopped, just the lightest of showers. And the rain, which has been tumbling into our commentary box, is finally ceased. A little bit like a shower up here on top of the stand. And not the hot one either. My David thinking they're going to catch the ball. Eventually it was fortunate that it bounced kindly for him. It takes 3 men to knock him down. Das Fleury and Andy Ayres, the 2 substitutes for the Cougars. 2 tackles gone, and the ball in midfield to Steve Craven. Strong tackling by Dory and Gareth Cochran. Tim Street. 2 tackles to go, the referee indicating where the Cougars should be. McNamara coming racing forward, and David Larder down. Good tackle. 6 tackle indicated by the referee. Windley, I think, going to put the kick over the top. Andre Stoops shouting for it, as Richard Gay at the other end taking the ball perfectly before being tackled by Tavita Vaikona. Keith Dixon over his own 20-metre line, and certainly Tim Street is getting through a monumental amount of tackling. Jason Critchley, the man who's proved he can score from his own half, scored 4 tries so far for the Cougars, but this without question the tightest. Good ball. Martin Wood gets the ball back to Appleby. The ball goes astray. Play on, surely. David Larder with it. 6 tackle indicated by the referee. Richard Gay again proving safe. Strong thoughts that he'd be at Halifax this season, but eventually all that was cleared up and stayed at the Boulevard Club with Hull FC, and Leroy Mackenzie well stopped by Darren Appleby. Shane Foster, the other Hull wingman, doing his bit. Andy Fisher, who played at Featherstone, is also a man who can be on a short fuse. And the 6 tackle coming up now. Windley again, the man who does the kicking. Chris Robinson realising that. 3 men racing for it. Andre Stoop taking it beautifully. Maya David holding him down. Surely a penalty, but the referee telling Andre Stoop to get up and play the ball. And David Larder coming on the blind side as well to get away from the first tackler and continuing to go forward. Ian Gately, the next man to have a tilt. Good short ball to Martin Wood. Martin Wood trying desperately to offload to Chris Robinson. Grant Dury. Richard Gay taking it over his own line with the short tap on the 20-metre line. Cougars having to be sharp to get there. And Tavita Vaikona making an invaluable 10 metres. Leroy Mackenzie, the next man up to the halfway line in 2 tackles. Good work by Hull. 4-2 to the Cougars. Windley moving it out to Craven. Craven, well, I think after some of the tackles that have gone on beforehand, that is perhaps rather a severe penalty, but the referee has nevertheless given it. McNamara electing to have a go at goal. And 27 minutes gone. A couple of Simon Irving penalties to the Cougars gave them a 4-0 lead. Since then we've seen a McNamara penalty that made it 4 points to 2, and now McNamara with his second opportunity to kick at goal, and the weather conditions are reasonably pleasant at the moment. The rain has stopped, the clouds that were all around the ground look to be dissipating, and we are in fact seeing sunshine way over, I think it's way over Settle actually, but I'm assuming that one day in the not too distant future it will arrive here. McNamara missing the goal. Wasn't that far away, and the score remaining 4-2, and Keith Dixon with the dropout from the centre of the field on his 20-metre mark, which doesn't really make sense. Richard Gay taking it 10 metres short of his own line, getting over his 20-metre line, and eventually being tackled by Simon Irving and Critchley. Leroy Mackenzie. Bit reminiscent of Des Drummond at times, Leroy Mackenzie, the way he dances around and makes space around the acting half-back area. Tim Street letting a short ball go. Hull doing well, my David. Centre of the field closed up by Ramshaw and Gareth Cochran. Sixth tackle coming up again. Defence is predominant so far. The kick going well into the car park. Not sure whether Chris Robinson giving an ironic bit of applause to the Hull player or whether he's geeing his own players on. Nevertheless, the sixth tackle and the ball will eventually be played when Mr. Robinson walks round the fairly bulky figure of Tim Street and Martin Wood just going into the first tackle. Jason Ramshaw from acting halfback. Appleby looking for the gap, goes through, Appleby going on his own, putting the kick, gets the ball to Andy Stoop, Andre Stoop is going in for the try. Tremendous work by Darren Appleby, and Andre Stoop backing up perfectly, took the ball, went over 5 metres from the corner flag, and the Namibian Andre Stoop gets the first try for the Cougars. Brilliant work by Darren Appleby. Andre Stoop taking the pass and outpacing the Hull defenders, and Simon Irving to take the kick at goal. So a bit of space between the two teams, and Andre Stoop and Darren Appleby getting a tremendous round of applause. Simon Irving about to take the kick at goal. Darren Appleby, who got a slight groin strain last weekend but declared himself fit on Thursday, as did Andre Stoop, who also had the slightest of groin strains. And Simon Irving, 15 goals so far this season. Would this be his 16th? Not too far away, but far enough away. And they score 8-2 to the Cougars. 31 minutes gone.
This is Susan, off comes Crew, on comes Chico Jackson.
Chico Jackson on. Sent off before the season had started against Batley and received 2 matches on. In fact, he wasn't sent off, it was video evidence, I think. And the kick-off going now. Keith Dixon to David Larder. David Larder looking down the outside. Does well, but is he going to take it into touch? And that He won't be happy about that. Did well to make the initial break, and then being forced into touch negated all the good work he'd done. Chris Robinson just tapping him because no one will feel it more than Larder, and the ball with Keighley. My David. Good tackle by Simon Irving. Centre of the field, just outside the Cougars' 20-metre line. Nick Pinkney doing well. Teddy Manning, the man who made the run, and that's good tackling by Keighley. Something happening on the far side. Tim Street trying to make the break, and three men denying him any hopes. Windley, Richard Gay, ball going to Chico Jackson. 6 tackle indicated, Ian Gately. Ball coming to the left to Windley. Windley, long ball out. There might be a gap here. Keith Dixon does well, and the try, has it been denied? In fact, no try. 6 tackles, so good tackling as far as the Cougars, and also credit to the touch judge who was right there and gave the decision to the referee. Ian Gately. Jason Ramshaw guessing wrongly there, and Chico Jackson giving him an elbow in the mouth to quantify the argument. And this time Chico Jackson again, and Grant Dory not very happy. Tim Street certainly did something there. And 1 or 2 tempers beginning to fray out there in the middle. Well, we've been saying all week that this would be an intense physical game. And I think the happenings out there in the middle beginning to prove our thoughts not too wrong. Referee indicating the half arm, but I think perhaps there was more to it than the half arm. David Larder fighting to keep his momentum going, and Ian Gately making the charge. Good tackle by Tim Street that time. Martin Wood. Play on, Critchley going forward. Critchley does well. 10 metres away from the try line. Soccer stills by the Cougars. This time going to be Cochrane. Cochrane gets it back to Pinkney. Pinkney misses the ball. The ball played on. The Cougars in possession. Martin Wood doing extremely well. Nick Pinkney, another young man who comes from Hull. He'll know most of these lads. Grant Dury doing well. Andre Stoop. Just a couple of metres inside the Keighley half, and Grant Dury having a go, doing well. 10 metres inside the Hull half. Jason Ramshaw showing the ball a couple of times. And Tim Street again involved, I'm afraid. Jason Ramshaw down. The touch judge coming in, the crowd shouting, and Tim Street could well be in serious trouble here. Jason Ramshaw lying down, and obviously something happened at the tackle. Penalty kick being given to the Cougars. .36 minutes gone, and Simon Irving with the possibility of kicking a goal, and Jason Ramshaw not very happy. Jason Ramshaw groggy, but obviously feeling fit to keep on. Simon Irving then with the chance to make it 10-2. 3 minutes to half time. Then the wind freshening, but at least the rain has ceased. And Simon Irving making Tim Street pay dearly for his transgression. And that's the second time, in fact, that Tim Street's given the Cougars 2 points. 10-2 to the Cougars. The ball rolls over. And around 3.5 minutes to half time, although there will be some additional time added. Chris Robinson to David Larder, and David Larder very wisely staying inside the field of play this time. Keith Dixon on his own 20-metre line, centre of the field, and Grant Dury, the next one to have a go. Gareth Cochrane up to the halfway line, still going forward. Six tackle by the referee when eventually Jason retains his feet. Good short kick by Chris Robinson, but Richard Gay obviously feeling confident that the ball was going to go dead. (10-2) then, the Cougars in the lead. Leroy McKenzie. Stopped by Grant Dury and Gareth Cochrane. Terry Manning, force back, played at Featherstone, of course, with some distinction. Tim Street. Ball on the blind side, short ball to Gay. That could be 6 more tackles, in fact the referee agreeing with me. Keith Dixon got his hand to it, so this the second tackle. Tim Street, 4 to go. 10-2, the Cougars in the lead. Andre Stoop racing after that, but no need to bother. The ball going well and easily dead, and Andre Stoop getting there, but quite content to allow it to roll dead and give the Cougars a tap on their own 20-metre line. (10-2) then, the Cougars in the lead. Jason Critchley. Good strong work by Critchley. I think, thought for a moment Ian Gately had caught a loose arm, but getting up to play the ball, Grant Dury. The very centre of the field, Dury getting up to play the ball going on the blind side to Chris Robinson. Robinson with a long kick down, that one won't go into touch. Chris Robinson after it, the ball going to McKenzie. Well tackled or half stopped by Simon Irving. Chris Robinson effecting the tackle, and Hull back inside their own 20-metre area, 10 metres from their own post. Two tackles to go outside the Hull 20-metre line. Martin Wood with a strong tackle, aided by Nick Pinkney. 10-2, the Cougars in the lead. Good tackle by Larder. Windley with the kick over the top. Beautifully anticipated by Andre Stoop, and we are into injury time. Half time.
There you go, folks.
Couple of Simon Irving penalties. A Stoop trying an Irving goal against a McNamara goal. Half time. 10 to the Cougars, 2 to Hull FC.
All right.
They are out.
They're getting ready.
All ready then for the second half.
Drop the chips. And we're ready to go. All right now.
Kick-off coming now.
To time.
Keighley in possession, Chris Robinson. Keith Dixon coming in. Evades Maya David, but wrapped up, and now Ian Gately. 10-2 in the lead, the Cougars, playing with the wind. Good shot ball to Simon Irving. Head-high tackle again by Hull. Andy Fisher, the man who did it, played at Featherstone, Castleford, Dewsbury. And Simon Irving by no means well. Keith Dixon just working for Mike Barrett to get Simon Irving fit and well, and in fact Grant Dory down, but nothing too serious there. Keith Dixon with the kick. Finds touch, and Jason Ramshaw taking the short tap. Ian Gately in. My David and Gary Duke, the men at the tackle, the ball gone loose. Penalty kick. And Hull not aiding their cause by having words with the referee. Certainly that's a battle you can't win in any sport, arguing with the referee or whoever. And Simon Irving going to have a kick at goal. A couple of minutes into the second half, and already Hull penalised twice. And that a thing certainly that our coach Phil Larder is adamant on discipline. And at the moment, Hull, not the best disciplined team in the Rugby Football League. Simon Irving then with the kick at goal. Perfectly positioned as far as we're concerned up in the gantry with the video. And Simon Irving coming up, making sure. 12-2 to the Cougars.
All records this year is the Cougars. All right.
Shake them all back. Do it when Simon says, and you will never be out. Simon says, put your hands on your head, let's take your
Kick-off going to be taken by Chris Robinson. David Larder going to be the man to do the statutory charge. Chris Robinson got Darren Appleby with him. Appleby to Pinckney. Pinckney trying desperately to come inside and make inroads in the Hull defence. Gareth Cochran, Maya David. Well taken by Leroy Mackenzie and equally well tackled by Chris Robinson and Jason Critchley. Head high tackle on Jez Cassidy, who is in fact an old mate of Gareth Cochran's, who was the man who was adjudged to have done the foul. Just getting a bit of a telling off. And in fact the wind which was there at the end of the first half looks to have totally vanished. The flagpole's perfectly motionless at the moment. I think in the not too distant future we're going to see some more rain. Good work by Hull. Chico Jackson did well. Duke did equally well to back him up. Timmy Street to Windley. Long ball out. Gay moving it out. Martin Wood involved. Also Nick Pinckney, so the tackling effective. Maya David moving it out wide. Windley. Ten metres from the Cougars line. The Cougars in the lead 12-2. Maya David to Windley. Long ball out. Taken by Leroy Mackenzie. He going forward. Appleby, Simon Irving. Gareth Cochran. Last tackle. Beautifully picked up by Critchley. Soccer skills in the first half. Now cricketing ability in the second half. Andre Stoop. Tackled by Chico Jackson. Ball out to Martin Wood over the 20-metre line. David Larder. Grant Doherty to the halfway line. Keith Dixon under a bit of pressure puts the kick down, not as he intended I suspect, and Richard Gay comes forward, tackled by Jason Ramshaw 15 metres or so from the halfway line. Good run by the left winger Shane Foster for Hull. Duke putting the ball out wide. Martin Wood tackling Steve McNamara, and Windley going to move the ball out wide to Timmy Street. Street gets it to Maya David. Certainly the whole team making sure that the defensive capabilities of the Cougars are being tested. 6 tackle indicated. Ian Gately to get off the man in possession, who was young Duke, and Windley puts the short kick through. Andre Stoop taking it. Jason Critchley again, willing, looking for work. One of the beauties of the Cougars is they do work for each other, and Hull offside. Eight minutes gone of this second half. 10-2 at half-time. They only scored in the second half. In the second minute, a Simon Irving penalty goal. And Jason Ramshaw putting it short to Ian Gately. Ian Gately, big 16, 17 stone man racing in. Going to be Grant Dory, his fellow prop. Had that misfortune with his arm towards the end of last season, but a strong favourite. Chris Robinson does well. Chris Robinson still going forward. Moves it to Cochrane. Back to Nick Pinkney. Nick Pinkney racing forward inside the 20-metre area. Desperately trying to get up and play the ball. Jason Ramshaw going for the drop. And missing. The crowd fooled me. They were all cheering, but at the end of the day, the referee perfectly right when we look at the replay to say no. And Leroy Mackenzie. Certainly a glutton for work, as indeed most wingmen have to be these days. Short kick through, beautifully judged by Martin Wood. Certainly on an afternoon such as this, the handling of both teams has been extremely good, and there's going to be a substitution made by Keighley. Darren Fleury coming on to replace, I think, Gareth Cochrane. Das Fleury, who had half a game at Keighley, at Sheffield rather, with the second team on Thursday evening. And Fleury, first man in. I know his ambition is to score 10 tries this season. Grant Dory. Dory doing well, still going forward. 6 metres away from the try line. Ramshaw to Robinson. Robinson reversing the piece of play. Appleby going forward, and I think only one end to that argument, meeting the bulk of Tim Street. And the ball going right. Simon Irving. Good short ball, but Andre Stoop surrounded by Hull men when he got hold of the ball. Martin Wood will have a tilt and try and pass out of the tackle. 6 tackle underneath the post. This time Chris Robinson going for the drop, and this time successful. Drop goal by Chris Robinson, making it 13-2, and we've just had 11 minutes of the second half. Darren Appleby going to the blood bin. Andy Ayres coming on to replace him. Not a substitution, it is a blood bin.
Jimmy Hankinson is 9 tomorrow, and also to Denmark. And yes, he's on the addresses, and he's on the field. He's a Cougar boy.
Kick off from the centre spot. Andy Ayres already in position. And Chris Robinson just stopping the ball with his boot, then giving it to David Larder. Martin Wood outside his 20-metre area. Then Chris Robinson getting it to Keith Dixon, to Nick Pinkney. Nick Pinkney puts the ball in field to Simon Irving. Simon Irving met and well tackled by Terry Manning. And Darren Fleury. Bad mistake by Darren Fleury. Just praising the ball handling skills in these atrocious conditions of both teams a few moments ago. And now the knock-on. Blindside moved by Hull. Darren Fleury doing well to follow him on the blindside. Tim Street. Windley using My David. Good long ball out. Might be danger here for the Cougars. Andy Ayres having to take him. Puts the ball in field. He tries there for Hull FC. The man who scored it, Terry Manning. That's Shane Foster, the man who came across, took the inside pass, and Hull back in the game at 13-6. But Tavita Vaikona hurt as he put that inside pass. And Andre Stoop also feeling the effects a little bit, I think. Mike Barrett going down to have a look at the Hull man who was hurt, looking as though it's a hamstring or some other muscular problem. In the meantime, Steve McNamara about to take the kick at goal. Hull back in the game at 13-6. Both Hull substitutes livening up on the touchline side. In the meantime, McNamara taking the kick at goal. 13-6 the score. No goal, so that's a relief as far as the Cougars concerned, and Darren Appleby about ready to return to the field.
And Mark will celebrate his birthday on Thursday. Lots of love from Anita.
Andy Ayres off the field again, and Darren Appleby back on the field of play with a headband round. The kick going to be taken by the number 6, Maya David. Well, that's a tremendous tackle. That really must be the tackle of this season and every other season. I don't think I've ever seen in all the years I've watched rugby league a man stopped as dead in his tracks as he was. And also, it has to be said, a fair tackle as well. Well, that really was a picture book tackle. And I would imagine a substitution going to have to be made. I think it would have been, in fact, due credit to the man who received it, who was Jess Cassidy. He's obviously well and getting on with the play, but certainly that was what can only be described as one hell of a tackle. In fact, Cassidy has gone off the field of play. And John Aston on the field of play. Tim Street making progress. John Aston, a totally new name as far as I'm concerned. And Windley moving the ball out to Andy Fisher. John Aston having a go. 6 tackle indicated by the referee, the score remaining 13-6 in favour of the Cougars. And a good kick down, which is going to have to be taken by Andre Stoop. And Maya David receiving a bang. Simon Irving coming forward. And again, what looks suspiciously like a stiff arm. Martin Wood, nobody on the wing, but in fairness there was no one there when Martin received the first pass. Darren Appleby getting it to Darren Fleury gets the ball back to Dury gets it to Chris Robinson makes the break. Chris Robinson puts the short kick through, people racing after, but the kick miles too hard, and a chance going begging. Hull then inside their own half, trailing by 13-6. Windley moving the ball out. Maya David. Windley again being used as the ball provider. Forward pass by about 5 miles, which the referee didn't see. Seen the knock on, but certainly the forward pass he would have allowed to go. So the Cougars to put the ball in the scrum. And 18.5 minutes of play gone in the second half. 13-6. Chris Robinson going round the blind side. And Ian Gately received a bang at the scrum. Appleby doing well. Appleby looking for the gap, didn't find it. Andy Fisher came across quickly. Knock on given by the referee, Andy Fisher appealing to the touch judge. The Cougars not knocking the man down with the ball. Martin Wood did just that. 13-6 to the Cougars. The man who made the try, Tavita Vaikona, not too far away from the Cougars line. Windley. Well tackled by Dury and Jason Ramshaw. Knock on, good strong tackle from Grant Dury. And the valley beginning to fill in again. We're fortunate if we get away with no more rain before the end of this game. And Chris Robinson to put the ball in the scrum. Penalty kick for feet up in the scrimmage, which I must confess I find rather amusing. At least I'm not sure whether it's feet up or a kick through at the scrum. Can't imagine it's feet up, so I can only imagine it's a kick. Darren Fleury. Grant Dury going through. Chris Robinson. Well, the crowd aren't happy, but there's nothing wrong with that tackle. Jason Ramshaw going for the drop. That one many a mile wide. And Hull back in possession on their own 20-metre line. "22 minutes of the game, or of the second half gone. 18 minutes to go, and certainly this game by no means over. Leroy McKenzie coming forward, certainly a very strong young man. Good tackle by Simon Irving, aided by Darren Appleby on the halfway line. Maya David putting it in field. Back to Windley. Windley, long ball out. Good tackling by Irving and Dixon. Windley again. Six tackle indicated. Windley going to put the kick up in the air. Andre Stoop underneath it, takes it beautifully. So the Cougars inside their own 20-metre area. Nick Pinkney, can he make one of those bursts? Invaluable 10-15 metres made. Keith Dixon does extremely well. Dixon, short ball to Critchley. Halfway line, Critchley wanting to get up quickly. The ball coming out to Chris Robinson. Chris Robinson coming in field. Grant Dury. Pinkney going. Good ball to Critchley. Dixon back to Pinkney. Pinkney's in for the try. Nick Pinkney and Keith Dixon doing magnificently well. That was a great try made by the Cougars. And Nick Pinkney, the man who went over the line. Grant Dory down below us got a bit of a bang. "24 minutes of the second half gone.
And so they gave him medicinal compound, and now he's learning how to fly.
Just keep an eye on this thing all the time, because this is going to be our saviour if we can survive the season.
Pinkney then, the man who scored the try that made it 17-6. And Simon Irving about to take the kick at goal. The ground hushed. And Simon Irving coming up with the kick, which is going way across the face of the goal. (17-6) with a quarter now to go. And in fact, Grant Dory being indicated to come off. Cochrane coming back on the field of play.
Cougar substitution, up comes a great performance, Grant Dory! And on comes Lucky Gunley and is the boy wonder, John Cochrane. Well played! Well the boy! Well played, boy! Lovely! Going for a bit of steak.
Kick taken underneath his own post by Martin Wood. Martin Wood does well, makes a good 22 metres. And here comes Ian Gately. Good tackle by Maya David. Jason Rampshaw from acting halfback. Gareth Cochrane on after the briefest of rests. Gets over the halfway line before he's halted. And the ball coming into midfield. David Larder. 6 tackle indicated by the referee. Chris Robinson going to put the kick through. Leado McKenzie doing well to take it. Strong tackle by Simon Irving. Assisted, as they say in ice hockey, by Critchley. Richard Gay. And the same 2 knocking him down. 17-6, the Cougars with an 11-point cushion.
Ball substitution by North, and on comes Keighley.
Six tackle indicated, a missed tackle by the Cougars in midfield. Windley putting the short kick over into space. And in fact, appeals by both sides there, and eventually the Cougars winning the day, and the indication short tap on the 20-metre line. Darren Fleary. Bit of confusion with the Cougars organisation then, but eventually all comes right. Must confess that the referee appears on the face of it to be allowing Hull to move off the mark at the play of the ball. And the penalty kick being given to Hull, which it could be argued is a trifle surprising. Windley putting the ball into touch. 27 minutes of play gone as Steve Craven goes forward. Tavita Vicona, obviously a very, very strong man, and Steve Craven also doing the job, and play still going on, and the Cougars eventually with the ball. Gareth Cochrane the first tackle, a Hull man kicking through at the play of the ball, and Martin Wood doing well. Be interesting to see who gets the man of the match as far as Keith are concerned in a few moments' time. And Darren Appleby makes the gap, still going forward, beats the man, going forward still, gets the ball out. David Larder to Andre Stoop. Andre Stoop is going in for his second try of the game. Darren Appleby, the man who made it, continued by Larder, and Andre Stoop makes the 2 points certain here at Cougar Park.
Bit his best. Appleby his best.
Andre Stoop given the try. Tremendous work by Darren Appleby, continued by David Larder, and all due credit to Andre Stoop in that he was there in possession, or in position rather, to take the ball and go over in the corner. Simon Irving with the kick at goal. 21-6 now, the Cougars in the lead, which is a warning to the First Division, I would think. Simon Irving coming up, and again the ball going across the face of the post.
We'd like to thank our sponsors today, our Salmon Series, the Premier Petrol Station. All the best to them, thank you. Now the match today is Silent Night Cabinets and Dalton Lane Keighley, and the Puma Ball sponsor is ST Auto Parts, Keighley number 1 for motor factors. So that's on the sole service. Another match coming up soon will be by Silent Night Cabinets, and the Puma Ball sponsor is ST Auto Parts.
Kick-off coming now. David Larder not making too many yards. Andre Stoop doing well to turn round and not take the full effects of the tackle. Gareth Cochrane, third tackle, getting up to play the ball. The ball to Martin Wood. 9 minutes of play to go, and It's a good kick by Jason Ramshaw. Finds touch, 8 metres away from the Hull line. The players running up.
Keith Dixon off and on comes Randy boy. Well played, Keith Dixon. A wonderful try for Keighley. Wonderful.
Keith Dixon going off the field and Andy Ayres coming on in his place. So at last the Cougars getting back to full strength. And Hull in possession, and Richard Gay, the man in possession, taking a bit of knocking down.
Substitution, Cassidy's on for Street. Tim Street.
Andy Fisher tackled inside his own half of the field. The Cougars, remember, 21-6 in the lead. Six tackle indicated by the referee. The ball to Windley. Windley moving the ball in field. Richard Gay eventually getting it, long ball out. Nick Pinkney in at the tackle, does well to knock him down. That's the 6th tackle, so Keighley will be in possession. Davita Baikona not too happy about that, but Andy Ayres getting a first touch of the ball. Andre Stoop with it. Ian Gately. Ian Gately quite content to make the 5 metres and then die with the ball. Appleby again looking for the gap, gets the ball back to Martin Wood. Martin Wood going forward, Martin Wood still going forward, gets the ball away to Jason Critchley. Critchley got man outside him, going on his own, can't put the ball back in field to Nick Pinkney. Simon Irving getting it to Chris Robinson, a long ball out to Appleby. Appleby finding Martin Wood. Martin Wood to Andre Stoop. Andre Stoop going forward. The 6th tackle indicated and Hull in possession. 5.5, 6 minutes of play to go, and the clouds beginning to build in, but looks as though with only a few minutes to go we're going to get away with no more rain anyway in the pitch. Looking as though it stood up to its first test with reasonable success, and it's the Maya David. Penalty kick to Hull. I think all we need with Darren Appleby with the headband round him is a feather, and then we could call him Hiawatha, but Darren Appleby getting the man of the match, the Keighley Cougars man of the match.
From Silent Night.
Hull though not giving in. Steve Craven inside the Keighley 20-metre area, knock on given by the referee. And in fact the rain again beginning to come down. Jason Critchley. 21-6 to the Cougars. Darren Appleby, the Keighley Cougar man of the match.
On the pitch after the final whistle, please. As we're trying to say, the bit of grass we've got. If you go around the sides, it'd be much appreciated. Thank you.
Darren Fleury gets it to Ramshaw, gets it to Chris Robinson. The ball out to Simon Irving. Simon Irving gets the ball back to Jason Critchley. Critchley does well. Can't get the ball in field, unfortunately, but managed to get out of a spot of trouble very, very quickly. And Chris Robinson getting it to Martin Wood. Martin Wood turning round, the ball's gone loose, and Hull are in possession. Dukes, his uncle many years ago was hooker at Hull. Rather a hard character, and Hull in possession with Maya David. knock on that the touch judge was looked at. Darren Fleury is going to be penalised for a head high tackle. Johan Windley just has a little bit of a push and a shove and a whine, and play is allowed to go on with a penalty kick.
Back comes Grantler, but trying to show by Keighley. All right, hold on again.
3 minutes to go, and the Cougars in the lead by 21-6. Hull then having a final tilt. Steve Craven, the Cougars holding them out yet again. And the ball out to the substitute who's come on, John Aston, but he too held up by the Cougars defence. And the ball coming into midfield. Cougars all offside, taken quickly by Hull. Craven going for the line, and for a moment looked as though he might score, but the Cougars defence at the last gasp was capable. And the ball to Andy Fisher. Andy Fisher half stopped by Stoop and Appleby, and 3 players coming across anxious to complete the job. Simon Irving, Cochrane and Grant Dory back on the field, and it's Maya David to Windley. Maya David, well tackled again by the Cougars defence. 21-6, the Cougars in the lead, and we're in the last couple of minutes of this game here at Cougar Park. Crowd of 4,200. Satisfactory in view of the fact that it rained very, very heavily at the wrong time, an hour before the start. Richard Gay, tackled by Fleury, and the 6th tackle indicated by the referee, and the kick through, drop out from under the posts. Andy Ayres, the man who put the ball dead. A minute or so of ordinary play to go. Will be a little bit of injury time to add to the game, but at the moment the Cougars going through for their 3rd successive victory, and Windley in the meantime taking the drop out on the halfway line and giving Hull possession. Darren Appleby getting the Cougars man of the match. A reminder, at half-time it was the Cougars in the lead 10-2. 3 Simon Irving goals, an Andrew Stoop try to a McNamara goal. In the second half, a Simon Irving goal, Chris Robinson drop goal made it 13-2, then a try to Hull made it 13-6, and then Pinkley and Stoop, 2 unconverted tries. And is there a try here for Gay? In fact, again the Cougars defence getting across, I thought, the last gasp. In fact, yes they did, but there could be a try in at the corner, and the referee has given the try. Certainly the crowd over on the far side by no means happy, but Foster given his 2nd try of the afternoon. One or 2 boos coming up from the touchline from the fans who were there, but at the end of the day not going to make any difference. The result already done and dusted, as they say, and the Cougars going through to another valuable 2 points in their quest for the 1st division. In fact, we are now into injury time. The kick high and the kick good. Final kick, and the Cougars go through to their 3rd successive victory by 21 points to 12.